Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Powerful on Purpose podcast. We're already talking about it's a Monday morning, right? But I'm super excited to share. I love to bring you stories of women who are using their story to grow their business, expand their reach, and really on that mission to change the world. So, super
Yeah.
excited to have Corree Roofener with us today because she does all that and more. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of what she does, right? Because we're going to dive into it. But she helps you align your money with what matters most. And huge market and need for that, right? She also helps you build a life, a business, and a legacy that feels like truth. We're into that here. And her story is really rooted in resilience, faith, and courage because she's a podcaster. She has a bookkeeping firm and she does nonprofit work, which centers around fostering the summit. I love this part, right? She challenges others to choose courage over fear, align their lives with their values, and believe that it's never too late or you're never too old to step into your purpose. Boom. Now, how's that for a guest on a Monday morning for Powerful on Purpose podcast? Welcome, Corree.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I am excited to have this conversation.
Me too. So, give us a little bit of the story because you have several kind of like I see how they can all converge, but share how the story was for you that all these things converged. You went, wait a minute, what I'm doing here and here and here, they're all kind of related. And how do I bring them together?
Honestly, from the taking action and failing forward, to be honest, that's what it's all about. We love to say, oh, I have this plan and it's going to be perfect. And the fact of the matter is that never happens. And so that's been my life. It's been a life of curiosity and really taking that next best step. I was a stay at home mom for over 20 years and I had a bookkeeping gig, just a side gig, helped fund our vacation fund, right? I love to travel. I love to be adventurous. And it helped do that. And 3.5 years ago, we were like, this is not aligned with us. Our life was overwhelming. My husband was literally dying in his job. And we had a huge loss in our family. And we were like, this is not how we want to spend the rest of our lives. And so I built the business. It really was just that I will build the business. And that's what I did. We've built the business. We moved to our property in Montana out of the state of Oregon. And because we had invested and spent in our values, all the things, we were able to do that and begin again. Fostering the summit is those 20 years I spent at home. We spent 15 of those years in foster care as foster home. And we have 4 amazing, beautiful gifts from that journey. And when we got to Montana, I kept getting these nudges that you're not done. But I was like, I can't be a foster parent, run a business, do all the things. It didn't feel right. And I just sat with it. And what came to me was something that was very scary. And that was that children who are aging out do not have any of the skills they need. And they are the statistic that we are rushing under the carpet under. Truthfully, we as a culture, as a society, are ignoring and creating an invisibility around these children that are our future.
Right.
And I had never fostered teens. So this was not my wheelhouse. Now I had parented teens. I'm a mom of 6. But I was like, yeah, God, this one's not for me. Thanks.
Right.
No thanks. But he said, no, this is for you. And so we just began. We started our nonprofit this year, 2025, and we just took the next best step. I've never been a nonprofit director or founder, but we took the next best step. I have mentors all over the country that do nonprofits, not the kind that I'm doing, but I just lean on them, right? Lean on them. And the Courage Coalition came from all of this. The Courage Coalition podcast is about real humans sharing their stories of how courage has changed their life.
Very, very cool. I love that. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about then there's so many angles
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah, I'm like, where do I even start? I'm all excited and giddy. So, what are you doing with fostering the summit itself? Like, what is the goal there to bring? I mean, I got an idea, but to, yeah, tell us a little bit more about that, because a
So
powerful idea. I think you're
yeah,
so right. And it's such an interesting way to approach it, right? We're
absolutely.
online, so let's
Yeah.
utilize that
So,
resource.
first and foremost is awareness. We have got to literally change the complete wheelhouse of foster care or nothing changes, right? If something doesn't change, nothing changes, and this is a perfect systematic need for change. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Legislation, the way we're aging out, the way we're dealing with reunification. There's so many parts. So I'm not going to go all into every single place. But if we don't flip the whole system, then nothing changes. And what I want to challenge people to hear right now is that if you're one of those humans that sit back and bitch about every system, homelessness, sex trafficking, drug abuse, jail, drug and alcohol addiction, all of it, then I want to encourage you to do some research about how foster care feeds into every one of those systems. Every single one of those systems is affected by foster care. And if we don't change the foundation of that, then nothing else will change ever. We will continue to see these obscene statistics that are killing every city, every state, every country in the world. But I'm focused on the US foster system. And so that is the first and foremost. The second is to actually change how we look at foster care. The average child in foster care comes into care at 8.5 years of age. So they spend 10 years in care if they age out at 18, which is the statistically when most kids age out. What does aging out look like? It means we hope you're going to do well. Here's a program that you possibly might help with you. Here's a college education that we'll hand to you because there's tons of programs that are so amazing. But we haven't allowed you to make a decision. We haven't allowed you to actually address the root of the trauma.
Right.
A child in foster care is 2 times more likely to suffer from PTSD than someone that's in the military.
Wow.
That is devastating. We're not addressing that. We're not addressing that basic human need to be seen, to be valued, and to be accepted just as they are.
Right.
So we want to build a home here in Montana that changes that statistic in high school because there's a need in care in every avenue. We did medically fragile newborns when we were doing care in Oregon. That was a need. We were really good at it. But this need is something that gets overlooked because by the time they're 14, 15 years of age, guess what happens? They don't want your help. They're so traumatized. This is a basic high school kids, right? But
Right.
these
And then
kiddos,
you add on foster
yes,
care. Yeah.
yes. They don't want to be hurt. They don't want a parent. They don't want any of it because no one has seen them right where they're at. So that's the dream. We're going to change that. We want to change the way we are looking at these kids. And these are some of the hardest kids in the system, right? These are the kiddos that need the most help. And it won't be easy and it won't be perfect, but there are a couple blueprints already created in the country. And we have been visiting those homes, a family dynamic where we teach them to be part of a family because they've never been taught that.
Right.
What it looks like to have a sibling, whether it's blood or not, right? Rules, responsibilities, a budget, how to cook a meal. Because again, they've never been allowed those things. They've just been told where to go, what to do, down to even cutting their hair sometimes isn't a decision for them.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Very. And so astute that this is really the core of so many social issues that we're throwing money at, that like you cannot fix that, right? Until you get back to what is the root problem. So
Absolutely.
kudos to you. And like, this is a total aside. We didn't intend to go down here. You know how right? But how, like, if people are called or they're listening to this podcast, right? And they're like, holy moly, I love what Corree is throwing down. Like, I want to be part of that. Is there a way that they can connect with you or some way that they can participate and support your mission?
Absolutely. So I'm on all social, and I'm not one of those people that have a social for everything I do. I have a social all in a big old pot of stew
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that's what I can do. And I think that showing up authentically is critical to the way social changes, honestly. But fosteringthesummit.org is our website. Anything we're currently doing is on there. Right now, we're in the midst of wrapping up a silent auction. I don't know when this is going to air, Leslie, so I think it'll be over. But the silent auction is going to wrap up this Friday. And we have donations from all over the country. It's so amazing to see community show up. It's virtual, it is online, and every dollar supports 100% the foundation. We always have an opportunity to donate. If something I've said calls to you and you have a platform, invite me on. Like, because that's that really awareness is so critical in these first few steps. And then every year in the summer we do Miles for Hope. Miles for Hope is fostering the summit's model, that we believe that climbing mountains is the epitome of life, right? You have to summit, and then you think you've gotten there, and then you've got to go all the way back down again. So this last summer was our first summit. We did Tour de Mont Blanc, 100 miles in 10 days. And the whole point is a reflection of foster care every single day. So we'll do that again in 2026. It'll be a new location somewhere here stateside. And we haven't decided which one it's going to be yet. So that's to be announced. But every summer we do that. And we're actually going to ask people to join us. We're going to invite them to join us. Are you willing to do it for one? That's our whole motto, right? No child ages out of needing a family. And if you're willing to do it, are you willing to do it for just one? Because God did, right?
Yep. Yep. Very cool. Ooh, excited people. We'll put that on your 2026 calendar to join Corey somewhere here in the United States.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how, because I hear how that story came about and also kind of your bookkeeping, but you also help people align their values and money, right? Talk to us
Right.
a little bit about, because I can see they're intertwined too. We got some
Absolutely.
connecting stuff, but somewhere there was a segue. You went, "Oh, wait a minute. Kind of what I'm doing is this."
Yeah, so here's the thing. Here's the basics of it. My whole life there's been I can go back and do reflections of how money was taught or how money was not taught. I think that's the bigger one. And what that reflected upon me. And the fact that I was living somebody else's financial story most of my life. Whether that was my mother's, we are actually given DNA based on our past that has nothing to do with us, right? Like our grandparents' DNA are in us, and those stories come with us, whether that we ever lived them or not. That is science, that's proven. And we do that in our money. Money is such a shameful, emotional, oh my gosh, it's like sex. It's like talking about sex. You're like, oh gosh, can't do that. But I think people
Even
talk
worse. I think even
I think
worse
it's worse.
sometimes,
I
right?
do. I think today people will talk about sex before they'll talk about their money. And that is so baffling to me. So I quickly realized early in life that I was living my mother's story. Flipped that on the head, changed everything. But then I realized I was living out of a scarcity mindset. What if, what if, what if? When we left Oregon, I had to challenge everything about my money stories because all that stability, even though that's the reason we were able to do this move, was going to be taken, right? The stability of the consistent paycheck, the stability of the savings, all of it. And what I quickly realized is that most of our country, and especially women, have this identity when it comes to money. And most of the time, it's not healthy. And so I really dove deep into that and asked myself, what does money mean to you? And for a lot of us, it's acceptance, right? Our basic human core need to be accepted into something, whether that's family, society, a group. And I wanted to change that because why is it that money has anything to do with our worth? Because it's a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool. It's a physical tool, a part of our foundation. Absolutely. It's how we create safety. It's how we create experiences. It's how we take care of and nurture our family. But it's a tool. And when we stop thinking about it in such a scarcity mindset, it's amazing what changes. So value based wealth is what I like to talk about is one, knowing your core values. And most of us cannot say we absolutely are 100% sure of our core values. But when you do, and you earn from your strengths, right? We earn from our strengths. That's what we do. We're good at something and we go to school, or we're interested in something. We create a business, right? Whatever it is. Like Leslie, I know you and I both created our businesses maybe from pain points versus strengths, but then became our strengths because when you can feel something, it becomes a strength. So you earn from your strengths, but you spend from those core values. If you can ask yourself when you go to buy something or invest in something or spend money in any shape or form, does this truly have anything to do with who I am? If the answer is no, then you need to challenge yourself, right? And
Right.
so our core values, like for me, it's family, faith, health, adventure. I like me some adventure. And and then service. So everything that I spend money on has to come back to those five things. And when it does, it never takes on a different source of shame, should have, could have, all of those things. The foundation is a great example. We're still building our business. We're still not back to maybe our financial place we were in Oregon. But when we started the nonprofit, I said, we will cover 100% of the admin costs the first year. And my husband's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And guess what's happened? We've been
You've
able
covered
to.
beyond.
Yes, yes, right? And so it is that spending from our values and we invest from knowledge when we learn, right?
Right.
So it's just coming back to something that we do not talk about when it comes to money, and it's who we are. We think there's a special formula. We believe that there's a special formula that we will have success in. And when you live someone else's formula, you will not have success. You will have what they think is success.
Absolutely. No, totally aligned with you. And I love how you put that spin on it because yeah, I think that's really true of business. And what I talk about a lot is we got to fix this first,
Yes.
right? And it shows up in our messaging. Like we can see, I can see, right? And I can point it out to you and help other people see, okay, I see what my messaging is saying about me that I need to fix. And so true about our money. Yeah, I've really, joy is one of the things that if I spend money, I'm like, is this bringing me joy? Like I got a new bag at Ross the other day and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't. I was like, there's something about that makes me super freaking joyful. Like
Yeah,
I'm taking her home with me, right?
that's right. That's right. And we don't have to have this ideal of what it looks like for anybody else, right? I have a perfect example. I have a personal finance coaching client. They're actually a business account also, but they wanted to come in as husband and wife and do some personal finance coaching. I'm like, awesome, would love this. I've never done a couple, but this is awesome.
Right.
What came from that was such a beautiful gift because what I realized is that they're aligned on so many things, but what they're not aligned on is how they invest. And client A is invested very traditionally in K's and that, where she needs to go on this. And client B, he was like, that literally makes my skin crawl. I am not putting the money I earn into somebody else's bank account. And everyone's like, well, it's not, it's yours. Nope. It was so unaligned. And he said, so why can't my $1.2 million in the greenhouse be my investment? And I'm like, well, expand on that. Let's talk about this. He grows rare orchids. and it is his heart and it is his passion. And he's like, I have an exit plan. If I were to die, there's a buyer that will come in and help my wife with the process. I said,
Wow.
then why are you even questioning this? This is your retirement. This is your life. And you've created a plan. Now, my question is this, did you write it down? Right? Did you write it down and someone has all the contact information? And then just owning that. That is your way, and that is perfectly okay. It doesn't have to be anybody else's way in the whole universe.
Right. And then sharing that, right, with
Yeah.
her. Because,
Yeah.
when you were talking, I was like, of course, and I've seen this happen in my own life, right? We're very clear on our values and how we spend our money, and then someone else enters the picture, and now they have different values, different opinions, and you're right, that clash because again, money is, and even if you talk about it, people are invested, go
Yes.
figure, in money and money conversations.
Yeah. And the expectation, that's one of the things I think as a culture, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We have an expectation, but your expectations are for you and for you only. And when we release an expectation of how somebody else does something, it is amazing the healing and growth that can happen in those relationships.
Right. Right. And sharing those stories about money,
Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
your values and how that's guiding your whole infrastructure and your
Absolutely.
relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Gosh, we could go on forever, right? But what would you say is two last things? What you say that is the biggest challenge to get more of the message out, particularly around fostering the summit?
I think the biggest challenge is just awareness. When people start hearing statistics, start hearing the reality of the system, it's amazing, as I've shared with you today, how many people are willing to step up and help. But the awareness is that critical point. So sharing, you guys, I believe that fostering the summit is my passion. This is our family's passion. But if you believe in and have this passion for sex trafficking or multiple sclerosis or whatever it is, just share, talk about it, because when we talk about it, we open ourselves up to something different. And that something different is knowledge, right? I had someone who donated from the state of Hawaii. It was a father of someone else that's actually one of my board members. And he emailed me. He just said, when Sarah brought this to me and gave me some information, I was like, not sure. But I started researching and I was dumbfounded by the need and the state of emergency, honestly. It is a state of emergency that is in our country. So I will be here to back you. Maybe it's only financially. He's retired, he's not on social media, but we can all do something. And if you can do it for just one. I was speaking at a conference and someone in the room went home and started being a mentor to a child in foster care. That is what we want. It's this ripple effect of what it looks like in your community, your life, right? It's going to be different for each of us, but it's not doing nothing. It's doing something, taking that next best step and then talking about it. How did it affect you? Why are you doing it? And being courageous to do it because it's not going to be comfortable. If you've never done it before, it's not going to be comfortable. But you just have to step into it with curiosity in what it will be.
Right? Step in it. And as a human, right?
Yes, as a
Because I
human.
care and I want things to change.
Right.
Absolutely. And then, like, I love your point. Share your story, people.
Yeah.
I'm always saying that, right?
Yeah.
But then share that story about, you're right, how it affected me, how it affected my community, the other person, whatever it is, because those are the things that we really relate to.
Right.
I love everything you're doing. So, and you kind of, I think you summed up, you combined my two questions because the next one I was going to ask was, right, what advice would you give people on either front, right? Money
Okay.
front and or getting involved. And you kind of summed that up by just do that. So maybe
Just
we'll
do
tackle
something.
the money front. What advice If somebody says, I know I got money stories, I'm not sure how to tackle.
The first thing is just stop ignoring it. It's just evidence. It's all it is. It's just evidence. And if you don't take one step to change what's not working, then nothing changes. Nothing changes. Doesn't matter what we're talking about. If it's a relationship, if it's money, if it's sex, if it's fostering, whatever, nothing changes, then nothing changes. It's as simple as that. So, one of the things that I do when I'm coaching, whether it's in business or personal finances, and you guys, how you do one is how you do the other. I don't care what you say, it's truth.
Yeah, we're pattern people, man. The
Yes.
same pattern across
Right.
all avenues.
So, as we walk into the new year, what about just doing an audit of your personal finances? Just go through all your credit card statements, all your bank statements are going to give you these beautiful wheel graphs, right? About where you're spending money. And if you're shocked by one, go in and ask yourself some questions. What is this money being spent on? One of the biggest things that everybody says across the board is that I am appalled at the amount of money I spend on eating out.
Hmm.
And it doesn't happen until they actually go back and collect the evidence. Then they're like, wow, I can change this. I've had clients pay off a car in 1 year just by that one simple change,
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But she also didn't know she was spending $800 a month on eating out.
Sure. Until she looked at it and
Yes.
yeah, and said, oh, here, I see it, instead of just, like you say, kind of pushing it.
Aside.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know
exactly.
how, I don't know what. And the last thing is that we all have the opportunity to earn money. And everyone's like, I have a full-time job. Yeah, I know. But if you want to get out of debt and it's really important to you on a very strict timeline, I challenge you to take on a side gig. It's amazing what we learn when we take on a side gig and pay down those debts, right? Maybe your W-2 job is actually your future.
Right. There is that.
There is that.
And that's a whole nother
That's
can
a
of
whole
worms.
other thing. Yes.
Cool. Well, this has been a delight. And I know you have a financial values assessment. We'll put the link for that in the show notes. Anything particular you want to tell us about that assessment?
It is just a core values assessment. And the reason I put that out there is that we just don't have that connection. We don't think about it. So when we do the assessment and we actually make it a conscious thought, it changes just that. It just immediately makes you more aware of what you're doing. So I always ask everybody, let's just do this. And I'll tell you guys, this assessment is not perfect. I was I was putting everybody on somebody else's website over and over again because I liked the way their assessment worked. And I was finally one day was like, okay, you've got to just try. And so this is my try. It's not perfect. I don't collect emails from it, which is a bad no-no, but it gives you the results. And so I'm like, okay, step 1, here we go.
That's right. Yeah. Baby steps, people. Just
Baby
baby
step.
steps. And Corree is setting that standard for us, right? Just one little
Yes.
step. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be a step.
Fall forward, fall forward.
There you go. Exactly. I love that. Well, this has been a delightful conversation. Thank you so much for coming. Super inspired and love what you're doing in all the arenas.
Thank you so much, Leslie, for the invite and just for the conversation. I do truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, be sure and subscribe because you do not want to miss more exciting guests like Corree who are sharing their story, changing the world, and inspiring us, right? Inspiring us to take that one step.